Let me get comfortable here.
I wrote this song for you. Wanna hear it?
Hey everyone, it's your girl Farmer C, and I'm here today with a farming video that's going to be a little different from the other videos, quite simply because, as you can see, I am not on my farm. And the reason I am doing this video is, one, it's important to demonstrate that farming is not all that you see when you see me out there with plants and talking about things such as poisonous plants. If you haven't watched my last video, definitely go check that out. Or, you know, issues with various crops, and showing you as we're building the infrastructure. A very big part of farming is business, the business side of things, the business operations, the marketing, the ensuring that you're, you know, in alignment and in accordance with various guidelines and rules and all kinds of things. So it's very much a part of that. It's social media, you know. So I often get asked, you know, we have some land, or we're thinking of purchasing some land, and we are interested in starting hemp farming. And by far and large, most people ask me about hemp. Anyway, the question I get asked all the time is, should I start a hemp farm? And I never am able to just be like yes or no, because the answer is different for every situation. It worked out for me, and I share how it worked out for me, but that doesn't mean that I'm just gonna tell someone, absolutely you should start, no matter what. No, I need to know what your situation is. And the light's adjusting because we got some natural sunlight. There's a lamp over here, so bear with me. Yeah, every situation is different, and that's why in my course, Big Hemping, I talk extensively about know your why. And that's what I would say to anyone who asks me, should they start a hemp farm? Number one thing you need to be very clear on is, what is your why? What is motivating you? Are you wanting to start growing hemp simply because it looks sexy? You know, it's this plant that for many years under prohibition was disallowed, and now there's a form of cannabis that's federally legal. There's definitely that social justice component, because communities of color, specifically Black communities and brown communities, have been just, you know, criminalized because of this plant. There are communities that have been literally desecrated. So there may be that component. There may be the mindset that I'm going to go in this industry and grow this magical plant that's going to yield me a gazillion dollars, and yeah. But if any of those are your reasons, or whatever your reasons are, you just need to be very clear about it. I would say to anyone who wants to go into hemp farming, you've got to want to go into farming first, okay? Before you talk about growing hemp, you have to want to go into farming, because there are other areas of the industry that you can go into outside of actually producing, and still, you know, have space or make space for yourself in that particular, down that particular lane. But when you're talking about farming in and of itself, more or less farming a particular crop, but farming in and of itself is an art and a science. It's actually several sciences. It's soil science, botany, horticulture, waste management, pest management. And let's not even get into the other side, is business operations and safety, and staying up to date on current legislation, both federal, state, and county, and potentially city, and understanding zonings, and understanding the rules and regulations for various agencies such as the IRS versus the USDA, and depending on what you're doing, it could also include other agencies such as the FDA. So, you know, it's a business. And it's a physical business. If you're the one that's actually going to be out there, and you have to take all of that into consideration. And if your only motivation is because you want to grow hemp, like if I ask someone, I'm like, so what's your, they're like, that's their only motivation. I tell them to think long and hard before they want to get into farming, because you have to have a love for farming. Because another thing I would say to people is, if the only plant you want to grow is hemp, you're really putting yourself, in my opinion, all of this is my opinion, okay? You're putting yourself in a vulnerable position. You're putting yourself, you know, where all of your eggs are in one basket. In addition to that, that's not going to encourage biodiversity on your farm. So you have to think about some soil health considerations, water management, that kind of thing. And you also have to think about the market. It's a volatile market. And this year, at least on the CBD side, the market was saturated, and there's still a need for processing for other applications of the plant. And these are all opportunities, and these are all tremendous areas for potential growth. But you know, it takes time to get there. So for me, starting small, going the artisanal or the boutique route allowed me to put myself in a different lane. And then for our farm, especially, not going down the CBD pathway, you know, for those who do, not knocking it, but we just chose not to do that and to really focus on plant medicine, medicinal plants as a whole. And that way, our business model is not contingent upon one particular plant. Yes, our current products are using hemp flower. And this is hemp flower that's quality. Could be, you know, it could be in a dispensary somewhere, and we're putting it in tea. One, to broaden awareness of the applications of hemp, and to put it in a format that's not only beneficial, but that for a lot of people who want to try it, but they don't want to go into the dispensary, they don't, you know, want to use anything that may put them in the mindset of their previous misconceptions and misperceptions about the plant. So this is a friendly way for them to try it. Everybody loves tea, right? But I had to think about, you know, how to position myself in a very busy, traffic-filled space. And it's possible, there's lots of opportunity out there, but that usually requires you to think broader than just hemp. But I think because no one can really answer that question but you, whether it's right or not. I will say that if you do choose to go into it, you know, take your time to invest in education, research. I just have these two books right here. One of the, you know, most widely read and popular books is by Jose Cervantes, I think is how you say his name, and it's the Bible. It's like the marijuana Bible. He's written a lot of books, but it's the one that was written back in the 80s. So that's like a, you know, the Bible of cannabis. And then this is another one, Danny Danko, Cannabis, A Beginner's Guide to Growing Marijuana. And let me tell you, for those of you who are like, oh my gosh, she said marijuana. Hemp and marijuana, they're both the cannabis. It's the same plant. It's the same plant, okay? They just bred the THC out of one of them, hemp, and then the other one still has it. But if you know how to grow one, you can grow the other, all right? Just put that out there. And then this one is by Greg Green, and it's called The Cannabis Grow Bible. I like Jose's better, but this is also a good one. And so those are just a couple of books. There are other books out there. Be selective about what events and webinars and stuff you sign on to. If it's a webinar just trying to sell you a model, pay us a lot of money and boom, here's a model. I'm not gonna tell you not to do it. I'm just gonna say, you know, think long and hard about whether or not you want to do that, especially if it's a business that has CBD in the title. That's just my advice, okay? If it's one of those trade show kind of things where you go and they give you a little substance, but it's usually just a lot of people who are very successful in the industry talking about, well, this is where I think legislation and what we need to do as an industry, especially if it's one of those events and you don't see anyone that is reflective of you and your community on the panel speaking, I would say save your money, because a lot of those are just trade shows and they're trying to get your money. I would say save your money. You know, find people as mentors, farmers in your area who are growing successfully. Look at businesses that you admire and see if they have some way for you to be able to learn from them. Some of them do, like I do. So I'm not saying come my way in general. You know, you may want something local or whatever, but take the time to do the research, be willing to read, be willing to, you know, if you're talking about going into starting a hemp farm and you haven't even read your state's legislation on it, then, you know, you really, if you're really serious about it, you're gonna do the work that's necessary to make an informed decision. And I have talked to people who have decided to grow other things, you know, or maybe they'll grow 10 to 20. I tell people, I advise people, don't go out there trying to plant an acre of hemp and you've never even grown hemp and you never even farmed before. And how do I know? Because my ass did it. Don't do it. A lot of what I share with people is from the mistakes I have made, because girl. Whew. All right, so I know I didn't give you a yes or no answer, but that's really the advice. Let me see if I have any more notes. Yeah, this is a whole nother video, like a real, if you like this video, let me know, thumbs up, comment below, and I'll do some more. But I thought about doing videos such as, you know, really talking about like what were my challenges, what have been my challenges in farming, how do I deal with things such as, you know, looking down and seeing a green caterpillar on my arm and it feel like he just bit me. But that could be mental, I don't know. And what am I supposed to do right now? Is it a good caterpillar? Is it a bad caterpillar? I mean, if he's on my arm, it's a dead caterpillar, but you still want to know. You still want to know, because maybe that can help, you know, in future decisions regarding life or death. So I thought about doing some videos like that, but let me know if that's the kind of stuff too y'all like for farming. And I'm about to do me a thrift video, which I had some of y'all tell me on Instagram that y'all like my thrift videos. I don't know if I'm gonna put it on YouTube. I might just put it on my Patreon. Y'all let me know down below if I need to upload the thrift haul video, because some of it's for stuff for the farm, some of it's not. So let me know. All right, that's it. I hope this video was helpful, and if you have any questions, definitely let me know down below. Bye.